What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back again with another video. Today, we're continuing our Toronto Maple Leafs 2023-2024 player previews. We're going to Auston Matthews. So if you're new here and you're a Leaf fan like myself, make sure to like this video and subscribe, join the squad. I'd love to have you guys here, but let's talk about it. The best player on the team, a lot of people would argue. I'm sure he scores a ton. He puts up a lot of points, and he does a lot of little things that I think he doesn't get credit for. And we're going to talk about all of those things in this video. Now, the biggest thing about Auston Matthews and what everybody wants to talk about was his contract, right? So his contract will be up at the end of the season for the one that Kyle Dubas signed. But his new contract that Brad Treliving signed is going to kick in next season. So he will be extending his time with the Maple Leafs. So before we get any further, we got to just look at the contract situation. So for right now, he's making $11.6 million. Of course, this is the end of the 5-year deal he signed before. And now he's re-upped another 4 years at $13.25. And the reason why this is important to start with is because if we're talking about how he will feel going into the season, Auston Matthews will be relieved because his contract is done. He doesn't need to think about negotiating. He doesn't have to do it mid-season. The contract is done. He wants to stay a Maple Leaf, and there'll be no distractions for him. He's done this before. He signed before he had to, and he signed very quickly. With this contract, I would say he signed relatively quickly, signing in August. That's pretty good for the Maple Leafs, of course, because, again, no distractions. You want this guy to go into the year, be healthy, knock on wood. You want him to be safe, you knock on wood, and you want him to have that clear space and, mentally be good. So let's knock on wood for that as well. Obviously, he's been a polarizing player since he's come to Toronto, but what a lot of people are looking at is his numbers. And I think it's unfair to look at last season as a failure. And what's crazy is a lot of people look at his 85 points in 74 games and think that it wasn't that great of a season, considering the year before in 73 games, he had 106 points, including 60 goals. Now, mind you, his playoff numbers have gotten pretty good as well. 11 points in 11 games, 9 points in 7. So he's taking steps there as well. But I want to direct you guys to some numbers about shots taken, shots on net, and we're gonna take a little bit of a deeper dive. So if we're looking at last season, if we look at Auston Matthews, he took 568 shots. Now 327 of them were shots on goal. So these numbers are important because the year that he scored 60, he took almost 600 attempts. And 348 shots were on goal. So not too far off, like relatively pretty damn close to these numbers. But yet his goal totals and his point totals were significantly different. Now, Matthews had a lot of bad luck last year. I think that he had so many great scoring opportunities. He took a lot of shots. That's something that hasn't slowed down. So I think that 40 is probably going to go back up into the 50s. And I think with teammates like Bertuzzi, and of course, you play with guys like Mitch Marner, Tavares, Nylander, sometimes Yarncrook, mix in a Matthew Nyes or maybe a Nick Robertson at some point. Calle Yarncrook was pretty good with him. He can play with almost everybody, and he's got a really good group around him, Max Domi included there. I'm not sure if I mentioned him as well. But this guy is going to put up numbers. He's going to put up big numbers. He's going to put up big points. And I honestly, if we're going to just go to impress and regress segment right in this video, he's going to impress. I think he's going to break 100 points again, and I think that's a lock. I just don't believe that what we seen from Auston Matthews last year was his ceiling. I also don't think he had as bad of a season as people were saying that he did. I actually think that he's going to be much better. I think this is going to be a huge year for him. The team is better. There's more depth, in my opinion. And I want you guys to let me know down below as well on the depth. But I want to take you guys also to shot block leaders for forwards. Matthews had 92 and led the entire, and he was leading the entire league. And he ended up with 92 for forwards blocking shots. And the reason I'm saying that is because we've heard reports that Matthews is going to play on the penalty kill this year. Do I want him being utilized there that much? No. But for people to say that Matthews doesn't do little things and, doesn't play the defensive style of game, they're just completely wrong. He blocks a lot of shots, leader for forwards in the entire league. He was taking the puck away quite a bit from his opponents last year. He was like top 4 in the team in that category as well. And now he's adding the penalty kill to that, and he's always had great skill at chasing pucks to make sure that opponents don't get good looks. Like, he's always been good at throwing the body a little bit. Nothing crazy, but people seem to think that Matthews never throws the body. He does. People want him to drop the gloves and fight. Like, this guy's had multiple problems with his wrists. I think that that's very silly, but I think he does a lot more and has a lot more to his game than people give him credit for. So going into this year, I'm looking at Auston Matthews as a full, complete player, much like a guy like Patrice Bergeron, right? Like, he could score, he could put up numbers, he was a good leader, but he did little things. And again, I'm not fully comparing them because I know Patrice Bergeron was dynamite defensively, but Auston Matthews is trying to get to that level, to try to be a Patrice Bergeron style, but with more of a scoring touch. Patrice had more of the defensive side, Matthews has more of the scoring side. Excuse me. So if he can mix in a little bit of that, I will be super happy. I think that would be a very successful season for him, and I'm looking forward to it. I think he's going to be amazing this year. Now, again, with it's the Spider-Man quote, right? Like, with great power comes great responsibility. And with Auston Matthews not taking this team as far as, maybe a Connor McDavid, even though he hasn't won the cup or anything like that, but if he's the big guy, if he's the guy that's going to get you the big points and he's going to have the biggest contract, what's always going to be looked at Matthews is how many times is he going to win in the playoffs. And right now, that number is 1, and that's just a playoff series, not a Stanley Cup. Because if they won the Stanley Cup, I wouldn't even, I would just be happy to be watching hockey every year. I just want 1. I'd really like to see 1 for the blue and white, but I think that Matthews needs to give this team even more in the playoffs. He needs to be scary. He needs to be unstoppable. And of course, we're talking just on a season basis right now, but if I'm looking at this as a whole, I need a domination. I need him to dominate the play in the regular season going into the playoffs and be a guy that teams are scared to play against. I want him to be that guy in the playoffs. I truly think he can do it. Like I said, impressing or regressing, I think he's going to impress this year. I think he's going to be really good. If I was to take a shot, I'm going to say 55 goals for him this year. He's going to pot a ton because he's playing with amazing talent. I think he's playing with guys that are going to open up the ice for him, like a Bertuzzi, like a Domi, and people think it's silly, but even a Ryan Reeves, because they'll know, man, if I hit Matthews, Revo might be coming after me in the next few shifts. So they're going to be less likely to go after Auston Matthews, which is good. They're still going to go at him, but it's going to give him a little bit more space playing with guys that are not afraid to at least get a little chippy and, drop their mitts every once in a while. So if you guys are new here, make sure to like this video and subscribe. Join the Andy gang or the squad. Again, I have multiple channels, so I mess up the outro. I do apologize, but join the squad. I'd love to have you guys here. I love making hockey posts and hockey videos, especially about the Leafs. So if you want to stick around, please do so. I love and appreciate you guys as always. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about the Leafs? Peace.